Have you ever felt that familiar knot of nervousness, tightening in your stomach just before you need to speak with someone? Especially when it's maybe in English. Perhaps you're worried about fumbling your words, or maybe that your grammar might not be perfect, or just dreading that moment an awkward silence threatens to, well, swallow the conversation whole. If so, you are absolutely unequivocally not alone in that feeling. It's a deeply human thing, really, a universal experience. And honestly, the best news is that the goal here isn't perfection. Not at all. In fact, it's far, far from it. Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into something that often seems incredibly simple, maybe even like deceptively so, but it actually holds immense transformative power for connection. We're talking about the often underestimated art of small talk. It's frequently dismissed, isn't it, as just polite fluff or maybe mere conversational filler. But believe me, it is a profoundly effective strategic tool in your social arsenal. Our mission in this deep dive is pretty clear, pretty direct. We aim to provide you with a straightforward, confidence-boosting guide to truly mastering small talk. Our ambition is to help you transform those moments of potential awkward silence into genuine opportunities. Opportunities for meaningful connection, and yes, crucially, for fluent and natural practice of your English. To build this guide, we've been immersing ourselves in insights from some, well, truly excellent sources. In particular, we've drawn quite heavily from The Art of English Small Talk. It's a resource that's just packed with practical wisdom, for navigating these everyday interactions with grace and effectiveness. Our goal is to extract the most useful, actionable nuggets from that and other materials too, to empower you with strategies you can put into practice pretty much immediately. I'm genuinely excited to unpack this. While the idea of small talk can initially feel daunting, maybe, or even like another chore on your language learning list, what we're going to discover is that it's actually quite simple. It's incredibly intuitive and extraordinarily rewarding once you grasp its nuances. Think of it like discovering a universal secret handshake to the social world, one that opens doors you didn't even realize were there.
And that idea of a secret handshake, I think that perfectly frames our exploration today. We'll be laying the essential groundwork, yeah? Not merely focusing on the how-to mechanics of small talk, but truly delving into the deeper, often overlooked why behind its immense practicality, understanding its fundamental purpose and the psychology it taps into. Well, that can fundamentally shift your perspective. It can transform that apprehension you mentioned into a genuine sense of anticipation, maybe even, eagerness for social interaction.
All right, let's unpack this then. We're talking about small talk. So before we get into the how-to, what exactly is it? The source, The Art of English Small Talk, defines it quite elegantly as light, informal conversation. And right there, kind of nestled within that definition, is its core purpose. It's about being friendly, right? Initiating a connection, fostering a sense of ease with others. There's no need for heavy lifting, no deep philosophical debates required.
Exactly. And that descriptor, light, that's profoundly significant. It means small talk explicitly avoids the need to delve into deep, complex topics or demand long, intricate answers. Its very design is to initiate interaction without placing any significant pressure on either party. This inherent simplicity, I believe, is its greatest strength. It fundamentally lowers the barrier to engagement, making it accessible to everyone, regardless of their conversational comfort level or even linguistic proficiency. In an era of, let's face it, information overload and heightened social anxiety, this lack of pressure creates a uniquely safe space. It allows for a reciprocal signaling of availability and non-threat, all without triggering the cognitive load or vulnerability associated with deep conversation, this psychological lightness. Well, that's its genius, really.
Exactly. And think about those phrases we all hear constantly, the ones that sometimes feel almost empty, maybe, or just rote. Things like, hi, how are you? Or nice weather today. Or maybe, did you watch the game last night? Our source offers these as perfect examples. On the surface, they seem almost mundane, perhaps even trivial, right?
Totally trivial.
But what's truly fascinating is that these aren't just empty words. They're incredibly powerful social lubricants. They operate as social rituals, almost. They acknowledge the other person's presence and humanity, like a micro-ceremony of mutual recognition. They bridge that gap between strangers, signaling you're open to interaction. And you respect shared social spaces, much like a polite handshake before a formal meeting, perhaps.
That's a crucial observation. And if we analyze the structure of these examples, what you'll notice is how they are crafted to invite a simple, non-committal response. Nice weather today. Doesn't demand a philosophical treatise on meteorology, does it?
No, not at all.
It just invites a simple, yes, it is. Or, finally, some sunshine. This sets a very low bar for engagement, makes it remarkably easy for the other person to participate without feeling put on the spot. So how do these seemingly simple phrases serve as a universal conversation starter kit, allowing people from diverse backgrounds to easily connect? The genius lies in their low-risk, high-return nature, their culturally neutral common denominators. Nice weather today doesn't require specialized knowledge or a shared history. It taps into a universal, immediate experience. This allows people from diverse professional backgrounds, different ages, or even varying language proficiencies to find an immediate, safe point of connection. It's less about the content of the words, really, and more about the signal they
Your
send.
signal.
The signal is, I am here, I am approachable, and I am open to a brief, friendly exchange. This creates a micro moment of shared reality, a brief synchronization that kind of disarms and invites further, albeit light, interaction.
And what's truly remarkable is how universally these interactions happen. It's everywhere. Our source highlights common settings like at school or work, in a proper restaurant, on the bus or train, or in a new place or event. These aren't just random places. They're all specific scenarios where you're likely to encounter people you don't know well, or where a formal, deep conversation isn't expected, or maybe even appropriate. They are primed for these brief, friendly exchanges.
Indeed, the universality of these scenarios, it speaks volumes. Stepping back, we see how small talk functions as a ubiquitous social ritual across many cultures. Consider why these specific environments lend themselves so readily to brief, informal exchanges. It's often about shared spaces or transitions, isn't it?
Waiting in line, commuting.
Exactly. You might be waiting for your coffee, commuting, standing in line, or simply navigating a shared corridor. Small talk effectively functions as a bridge in these moments. It fills potentially awkward silence and signals a willingness to engage. It makes the shared space feel more comfortable and, well, less isolating. It's a way of acknowledging mutual presence and establishing a temporary, light social contract.
Here's an analogy I think really drives this home for you, the listener. Imagine small talk like the warm-up stretches you do before a strenuous workout. You don't just walk into the gym and immediately try to lift the heaviest weights, do you?
Definitely not.
No, you meticulously prepare your muscles, you get them ready. Small talk performs the exact same function for your conversational muscles. It gets you warmed up, limber, and ready for deeper engagement later on.
That's an exceptionally insightful analogy. And expanding on that, a key insight here is how small talk acts as a low-stakes testing ground for social connection. It allows individuals to subtly gauge another person's interests, their availability, their openness to interaction, all without committing to a deep or prolonged exchange. This significantly reduces anxiety for both parties involved.
That makes sense. Less pressure.
Precisely. You're essentially putting out feelers, seeing if the other person is receptive. And if they are, well, then you can choose to delve a little deeper. This informal test serves a crucial purpose. It prevents potential social awkwardness or even outright rejection down the line. If the interest isn't mutual, it allows for a gentle, graceful retreat without any loss of face. It maintains a comfortable social dynamic.
Okay, so we've effectively decoded what small talk is and where it typically occurs. Now, here's where it truly gets compelling, I think. Why small talk matters so incredibly much. It's far more than just idle chatter or polite noise. Our source identifies some profoundly core benefits. Not minor perks, these are foundational elements of social interaction and language learning. These include helping you make new friends, practicing English naturally, showing confidence and politeness, and crucially, starting deeper conversations.
Absolutely. And let's delve into each of these benefits individually, because they are interconnected, you see. They build upon one another, creating a powerful ripple effect. First, making new friends.
It's remarkable how even a very short, seemingly trivial interaction can effectively break down initial social barriers. Small talk is the first ripple in building any relationship.
The first step. You acknowledge each other, you exchange a few words, and that simple act signals openness. This transforms a stranger into someone you've at least briefly connected with, opening the door for future, more substantial interactions. It's the foundation for what sociologists call weak ties. Those connections that aren't deep friendships but can be incredibly valuable.
Weak ties. Interesting. Like for opportunity.
Exactly. Unexpected opportunities, information, broadening your social network. Small talk often initiates those weak ties. Then there's practicing English naturally. Contrast this with the typical alternatives like rote memorization or grammar exercises in isolation.
Which can feel quite dry sometimes.
Right. And while those are important, small talk provides a real-world, low-pressure environment for authentic practice. You're not being graded. You're simply communicating with a genuine purpose. It offers immediate, natural feedback in a forgiving context, helping you internalize the rhythm, the intonation, the flow of real conversation, not just textbook phrases. This authentic, low-stakes practice is invaluable for true language acquisition and fluency. Next, showing confidence and politeness. Initiating small talk, even with a simple greeting or comment, it projects an image of approachability and social competence.
So it's not just about being friendly, it's about how you come across.
Precisely. It's a powerful nonverbal cue that you are engaged with your surroundings, that you're friendly, and that you respect established social norms. It communicates that you're comfortable in your own skin and willing to engage with others, which is incredibly attractive socially. And this isn't about being an extrovert necessarily. It's just about signaling a willingness to connect. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, starting deeper conversations. Stepping back, we recognize that small talk is rarely the destination itself.
Right, it's the path.
Exactly. It's the vital pathway, the essential prerequisite for more meaningful exchanges. It serves to build initial rapport, to identify common ground, and crucially, to create the psychological safety needed for more vulnerable or significant discussions. You wouldn't immediately launch into your life's deepest philosophical quandaries with a stranger, would you?
Probably not.
Small talk allows you to test the waters, find a connection point, and then, if the conditions are right, naturally transition to something more substantial. It's the critical bridge from acquaintance to connection.
That makes profound sense. It really is like the pre-flight check before takeoff, setting the stage. Our source also highlights a truly significant cultural point that can often be overlooked. In many cultures, people use small talk to break the silence and show interest. Unquote. This is a big one because if you're from a culture where silence is perfectly comfortable, or even preferred as a sign of respect or deep thought, this expectation of small talk might initially feel foreign. Or even, intrusive.
And that's a critical distinction to grasp, elaborating on the breaking the silence point. A key insight is that in many Western cultures, a prolonged silence between unacquainted or recently acquainted individuals can often be perceived as awkward.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, that uncomfortable silence. Right. It can even signal disinterest or unfriendliness. Small talk fills that void constructively. It confirms that both parties are present and open to interaction. If you consciously or unconsciously skip this step, if you jump straight into the business of a conversation maybe, or if you maintain silence in a situation where small talk is expected, it can indeed feel cold or abrupt. It might signal disinterest or even rudeness, however unintentional on your part. So how does understanding this specific cultural expectation empower you to navigate diverse social settings more effectively? It provides a critical piece of social literacy. It allows you to proactively build bridges rather than inadvertently creating distance, fostering immediate comfort and rapport.
This all culminates in what feels like a massive aha moment for you, the listener. It's the realization that a simple hi or a casual comment on the weather isn't just filler. It isn't just polite noise. It's actually a potent key that unlocks a whole chain of potential opportunities, whether it's for networking in a professional setting, or forging a new friendship, or simply making a daily interaction with someone at the grocery store or on your commute a little more pleasant. Small talk is the tiny seed that, with a little nurturing, can blossom into something much bigger and more rewarding.
Precisely. And if we speculate on the broader implications, this isn't merely about speaking English, it's fundamentally about social fluency. A key insight here is how the seemingly trivial act of small talk contributes significantly to one's overall social capital.
Social capital. Can you unpack that a bit?
Sure. Think of social capital as the value you get from your social networks. The trust, the cooperation, the information that flows through your connections. Small talk is often the very first brick in building that capital. It signals that you are someone who understands and respects social dynamics, someone who is approachable and interested in connecting, making you a more integrated and valued member of any social environment you enter. It's about building micro connections that can lead to macro benefits.
Okay, now let's shift gears to the practicalities. If you're feeling a bit nervous about exactly what to say, don't worry. Our source lays out what it calls safe and easy topics, almost like a conversational cheat sheet. This is incredibly helpful because it gives you a clear starting point, right? A comfort zone you can always return to.
Having these pre-approved topics can significantly reduce anxiety, especially when initiating conversation with someone new. Let's go through each recommended topic and understand why it's so effective and maybe how to use it with a bit of finesse. First, the weather. This is truly the ultimate icebreaker, a universal constant.
Always something to say about the weather.
Exactly. It's immediate, constantly changing, and utterly non-controversial. Everyone experiences it. An example like, "It's really sunny today, isn't it? I'm so glad the rain finally stopped." Invites an easy, low-stakes response and agreement. You can follow up with a quick comment about how it affects your day. It makes my commute so much more pleasant. It's a shared reality that doesn't demand personal revelation. Simple. Next, work or school. This is often common ground for many adults or students, as people spend a significant portion of their lives in these settings. However, it requires a touch more sensitivity than the weather.
Right, you don't want to pry too much.
Exactly. The key isn't just what you ask, but how. Instead of a blunt, what do you do? Which can feel a bit like an interrogation. A softer approach like, what's keeping you busy these days? Or maybe, what kind of projects are you working on? Invites a lighter response. The goal isn't to uncover career aspirations or academic struggles, but to find shared experiences. Perhaps commuting woes, the challenge of learning new skills, or even the common need for a coffee break. The sensitivity comes in recognizing nonverbal cues. If their answer is brief or vague, don't push it.
Good point. Read the room.
But if they lean in and elaborate, you found a potential avenue for a deeper, shared understanding, maybe leading to discussions about shared industry insights or university experiences. Then we have free time. This topic immediately opens up possibilities for shared hobbies, interests, or leisure activities. It moves the conversation towards personal enjoyment.
More fun topics.
Yeah. Asking, what do you do on the weekend, or do you have any fun plans coming up? Allows the other person to express themselves personally, but still within a light, non-threatening context. You might discover a shared passion for hiking, reading, or even a particular type of cuisine. This can be a wonderful pathway to finding common ground beyond the immediate situation. Food is another universal connector. Everyone eats, right?
And most people like talking about food.
Exactly. Simple questions like, do you like coffee or tea? Or have you tried that new bakery down the street? Can lead to discussions about preferences, favorite local eateries, or even cultural traditions around food. It's a very common, relatable subject. It quickly reveals shared tastes or interesting differences, often prompting recommendations or stories. TV or movies are also culturally relevant and often a shared experience, especially with popular shows or films.
Oh yeah, asking, seen anything good lately is classic.
It is. Have you seen any good movies lately? Or what shows are you binge watching these days? Encourages reciprocal recommendations or discussions. It creates an instant bond over shared entertainment and provides an easy way to understand a bit about someone's interests and taste. Finally, news or sports. These topics are timely and can often be a source of shared excitement, frustration, or commentary, particularly for major events.
Like, did you see the game last night?
Perfect example. Did you hear about the game yesterday? Or what's your take on the local news story about X? Can quickly establish camaraderie. The key here, though, is to stick to general, widely known news, not obscure or potentially controversial headlines.
Keep it light, basically.
Exactly. Focus on events that most people might have encountered or have a casual opinion on, rather than deep analyses.
That's a thoroughly robust list of go-to topics. Provides a fantastic safety net for any conversation, really. But, and this is a crucial warning directly from our source, one that cannot be overstated. Tip: avoid talking about politics or religion in small talk, especially with strangers. This one is truly important to internalize.
And let's thoroughly elaborate on the why here, because it's critical. Stepping back, we understand that the very goal of small talk is to build connection and rapport, to establish a comfortable social dynamic. Politics and religion, however, they're deeply personal, often emotionally charged topics.
Just charge.
They can reveal fundamental disagreements in values, worldviews, or deeply held beliefs that are entirely inappropriate for informal initial interactions.
Yeah.
Introducing these topics can very quickly lead to alienation rather than rapport, creating discomfort, offense, or even outright hostility. It effectively shuts down the conversation. It's like navigating a minefield when the objective is just a pleasant stroll.
That's an analogy. So how does recognizing these conversational landmines protect the positive, open atmosphere that small talk aims to create? It ensures a comfortable, safe exchange for all parties. By steering clear of areas where fundamental differences are likely to emerge, preserving a light and friendly tone, you're prioritizing social harmony over ideological debate in that initial interaction.
Okay, so we've got a solid grasp on what to talk about. Now let's get down to the actual right words to use. Having these essential phrases ready in your mental toolkit, practiced and ready to deploy. That will dramatically boost your confidence. It's like having a versatile script you can creatively riff on, adapting it to any situation.
Absolutely. And let's break down each category of phrases, discussing their precise function and subtle impact. Because the nuances here really do matter in creating a smooth interaction. First, the phrases for starting a conversation. Hi, how's it going? This is incredibly casual, friendly, and universally understood across English-speaking cultures, perfect for almost any informal situation.
Your standard go-to. Pretty much. From greeting a colleague in the hallway to starting a chat with someone next to you in line at a coffee shop, its openness invites a simple reciprocal inquiry. Hello, nice to see you. This phrase is slightly more formal, maybe, but still conveys warmth and recognition. Excellent for known acquaintances, or even if you're meeting someone for the first time in a slightly more structured setting, like a work event or a community gathering, signals politeness. Excuse me, do you come here often? Classic. Often used effectively in specific social settings, particularly where there's a perceived shared experience or novelty.
Like a new class or something.
Exactly. A new class, a hobby group, a conference. It playfully implies you're both in the same boat, looking for connection. It's a gentle, often humorous way to break the ice, especially if you yourself are new to the setting. A key insight here is how these various openers serve different social temperatures, from casual warmth to slightly more formal politeness, allowing you to choose the most appropriate one for the context. Mastering this choice demonstrates social acumen. Next, we have phrases for responding and showing interest. These are crucial for keeping the conversational ball in play and signaling genuine engagement. I'm doing well, thanks. And you? This is the absolutely essential reciprocal question.
You have to ask back.
You really do. It's not enough to just answer. You must return the question. It demonstrates politeness, keeps the conversational flow going, and shows you're equally interested in the other person's well-being. That sounds interesting. This is a powerful, positive affirmation. A simple, versatile phrase that encourages the other person to continue elaborating.
Like a little verbal nod.
Exactly. It signals engagement without demanding a specific follow-up question from you, giving you a moment to process or think, oh really, tell me more. This is an open invitation for elaboration, shows genuine curiosity and active listening, a clear signal that you're not just passively hearing words, but are actively engaged and want to understand more deeply. This phrase encourages the speaker to share details, anecdotes, deeper insights, propels the conversation forward. A fascinating aspect here is how these phrases signal active listening and encourage the flow beyond just a simple back and forth. They're not just polite responses, they're strategic prompts for deeper engagement, indicating that you value what the other person is sharing and want to learn more. And finally, ending a conversation politely. This is often overlooked, but leaving a positive, lasting impression is just as important as starting one well.
The graceful exit.
Precisely. Well, I should get going now. This is a gentle, clear signal of departure. The well softens it, makes it less abrupt or rude. Communicates your intention to leave without making an excuse. Nice talking to you. This expresses genuine appreciation for the interaction, however brief. Reinforces the positive rapport you've built and acknowledges the time spent. Hope to see you again soon. This leaves the door open for future interaction, if desired. Particularly useful if you genuinely want to connect again, but it's also a universally polite way to part ways without closing off future possibilities, even if you never see them again. Stepping back, we see how ending a conversation gracefully is paramount. It leaves a positive, lasting impression. Ensures that the positive rapport built during the small talk isn't undermined by an awkward or abrupt exit. So, how does a polite and thoughtful exit reinforce the positive relationship established? Make future interactions more likely and comfortable. It affirms the value of the exchange, making the other person feel respected and appreciated, which makes them more receptive to future encounters.
That was a fantastic breakdown. So we now have the topics, we have the essential phrases. Now, the big question. How do we truly master this art of small talk? Make it feel natural and confident. Our source gives us some really powerful, actionable tips. First, and this is truly huge for anyone learning a new language, keep it simple. You don't need perfect grammar. Just speak clearly and naturally. This is such a relief to hear, isn't it? It takes so much pressure off.
It absolutely is. A key insight here is the profound psychological liberation this tip offers. The fear of making grammatical mistakes is a huge paralyzer for many language learners, often leading to silence rather than conversation.
Totally.
But in small talk, the emphasis should be on conveying friendliness and a willingness to communicate, not flawless linguistic execution. Clarity and naturalness in your delivery foster connection far more effectively than rigid grammatical precision in these informal settings. People respond to genuine warmth, effort, and approachable communication, not academic perfection. Focusing on simplicity reduces cognitive load, allowing you to focus on the person, not just the language.
And building beautifully on that idea, the next tip is to ask open questions. Our source provides a brilliant example. Try, what do you do after work? instead of do you work. That small shift from a yes-no question to an open one makes a world of difference in how conversation can unfold.
It really does, and the distinction is vital. Let's analyze why open questions are so superior for small talk. A yes-no question like, do you work, can often lead to a conversational dead end.
Yeah, just yes, then silence.
Exactly. The other person can simply say yes or no, and then the conversational ball is suddenly back in your court, often resulting in an awkward silence as you scramble for a follow-up. Open questions, however, invite more than a single-word response. They encourage the other person to share more information, elaborate on their thoughts or experiences, expand the conversation naturally. So, how do open questions demonstrate genuine interest in the other person's experiences and propel the conversation forward organically? They signal that you're interested in their story, not just a simple data point. This makes the other person feel heard and valued, encouraging them to open up and contribute more, making the conversation a true exchange rather than an interrogation.
Next up, something incredibly subtle yet profoundly powerful. Listen and smile. The source also advises, show interest with eye contact and small reactions like, oh, or wow. This is entirely about the nonverbal cues, isn't it? The silent language of engagement.
Precisely. We delve here into the critical importance of active listening, which goes far beyond just hearing words. A key insight is that communication is only partly verbal. Your nonverbal cues speak volumes, often more loudly than your spoken words.
Body language.
Eye contact, where culturally appropriate, of course, as customs vary signals that you are engaged, paying attention, present in the moment. Genuine facial expressions, like a warm, relaxed smile, project openness and friendliness. And those, oh, or wow, micro responses are absolutely crucial. They are little audible nods, brief verbal affirmations that show you're not just hearing the words, but you're with them in the conversation, reacting authentically to what they're saying. They validate the speaker and subtly encourage them to continue sharing.
And extending that to your entire demeanor, the next tip is to use body language. It advises, nod, smile, and stay relaxed. Your body shows you're friendly. It really is all connected, from your words to your physical presence.
Absolutely. If we connect this to the bigger picture, congruent body language powerfully reinforces your verbal message of friendliness and openness. A relaxed posture, an open stance, avoiding crossed arms, for example, and consistent, gentle nodding during listening all show receptiveness and ease.
Makes the other person feel more comfortable.
Significantly more comfortable and at ease with you. It's a vital tool for overcoming any initial nervousness you might feel, and for projecting confidence, often before you even say a word. So how can conscious control over your body language not only convey a welcoming demeanor to others, but also actually help you feel more confident internally? By adopting open and relaxed postures, you could actually kind of trick your brain into feeling less anxious, creating a positive feedback loop for your confidence.
Finally, perhaps the biggest, most fundamental tip for mastering any skill: practice every day. Our source really simplifies it, making it incredibly accessible. Even saying hi to a shopkeeper or bus driver builds confidence. It's not about grand gestures, is it? But consistent, small steps.
This point truly cannot be overstated. We stress the profound cumulative effect of small, consistent practice. A key insight here is that small talk, like any skill, whether it's learning a musical instrument, riding a bike, mastering a sport, improves significantly with regular, repeated exposure.
Just gotta do.
You just gotta do it. These daily micro interactions, like greeting a shopkeeper when you buy groceries, ordering coffee at a cafe, thanking a bus driver, asking for directions, all build muscle memory for starting and sustaining simple conversations. Each successful, even tiny interaction gradually erodes apprehension and replaces it with competence and ease. It's like doing reps at the gym for your social skills. Each one contributes to your overall conversational fitness. The more you do it, the more natural and automatic it becomes, reducing the mental effort involved.
To bring all these fantastic tips vividly to life, our source provides a quick, illustrative practice dialogue. Let me read it out, and then we can deconstruct it, line by line maybe. See how all these principles are applied in a real world, albeit simplified exchange. Imagine two people meeting on the street, perhaps waiting for a bus. You, hi, lovely day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, finally some sunshine. You, do you usually walk to work? Odem.
Yeah.
Yes, I live nearby. How about you? You. I take the bus. It's nice to walk when the weather is good.
Okay, let's break this down meticulously. See exactly how each line exemplifies the principles we've just discussed, creating a seamless, natural interaction.
Hi. Lovely day, isn't it?
This opener is a masterclass in simplicity and effectiveness.
Right off the bat, the weather.
Exactly. Uses the universal, safe topic of weather. While not strictly an open-ended question, the Isn't it? Invites agreement or a slight elaboration, much like an open question would. It's approachable, non-threatening, and immediately signals openness to interaction. The high is casual and friendly, setting a warm tone. Yes, finally some sunshine. This is an excellent, simple response. It doesn't just agree with a yes, it adds that small piece of personal feeling with finally.
Makes it more real.
Yeah, more engaging and authentic than a bare affirmation. It subtly invites a follow-up, showing receptiveness. Do you usually walk to work? Here's a perfect practical example of an open question about routine. It smoothly transitions beyond the weather to something about the other person's daily life, inviting more than a yes or no, shows genuine curiosity about their habits, makes the conversation about them. Yes, I live nearby. How about you? This is a truly excellent response. The person provides relevant information, I live nearby, justifying their walking habit. And crucially, they reciprocate the question, how about you? Demonstrating politeness and actively keeping the conversational ball in play.
That reciprocity is key.
Vital for a natural flow, showing mutual interest. I take the bus. It's nice to walk when the weather is good. The first speaker responds, providing their own information, and then elegantly finds a common ground point. It's nice to walk when the weather is good, related to the previous statement. This further cements a connection by acknowledging and validating the other person's experience while sharing a related personal detail. It highlights a shared appreciation, strengthening the burgeoning rapport.
Yeah. As the source succinctly puts it, simple, short, and friendly. It flows so naturally precisely because both participants are subtly, almost instinctively, following these unspoken rules of engagement, applying the principles we've discussed. It's a dance of mutual respect and openness. As we bring this deep dive to a close, let's circle back to the core, empowering message from The Art of English Small Talk. Small talk isn't merely a step. It is your crucial first step to genuinely great conversations in English. It's not the grand finale of your linguistic journey. It's the essential opening act, the overture before the main performance begins. It sets the stage for everything that follows.
And this reinforces the source's concluding pivotal advice. You don't need to speak perfectly. You just need to be open and polite. A profound insight here is that attitude and intention often far outweigh linguistic perfection in building genuine, meaningful connections.
It's about the vibe you give off.
Exactly. Openness signifies a willingness to engage, to learn, and to connect. While politeness signals respect and consideration for the other person's comfort and feelings, these qualities are universally appreciated and understood, transcending any accent or minor grammatical imperfection. It's about authentic human connection at the end of the day.
So really, the actionable takeaway for you is quite simple, yet incredibly powerful. Start with a genuine smile and a warm hello, and then, allow the conversation to naturally flow. Release the pressure of perfection. Embrace the ease of connection.
Exactly. And to echo the source's final powerful encouragement, start practicing today. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. If we connect this to the bigger picture, consistency is absolutely the indisputable key to competence. Each small interaction you engage in builds your confidence and enhances your fluency, gradually transforming a potentially daunting social situation into a genuine opportunity for personal growth and deeper human connection. You are building not just language skills, but vital social muscles.
What an enlightening journey we've taken today. We began by acknowledging that universally relatable knot of nervousness many of you might feel when trying to converse in English. And then we thoroughly defined small talk as that light, informal conversation designed for friendly, low-pressure connection. We then meticulously unpacked why it's so much more than just fleeting chit-chat, how it serves as your essential gateway. Gateway to making new friends, practicing English naturally in real-world scenarios, projecting confidence, and ultimately sparking the fuse for deeper, more meaningful conversations. We armed you with a practical cheat sheet of safe, universally appealing topics like the weather, work, and shared interests, and gave you that crucial strategic warning to always steer clear of emotionally charged subjects like politics and religion in casual exchanges. Very important.
Crucial.
And, of course, we provided you with those indispensable phrases for gracefully starting, engaging in, and politely ending conversations, all while emphasizing that it's about clarity and naturalness over elusive, perfect grammar.
Yes.
We reinforce the transformative power of asking open-ended questions, practicing active listening, and utilizing positive body language, always reminding you that consistent daily practice, even in tiny increments, is your absolute best friend.
And we solidified all these concepts by demonstrating how all these pieces fit together seamlessly in that simple yet remarkably effective practice dialogue, proving that small talk truly is accessible and profoundly powerful. You now possess a practical framework, a rich mental toolkit, and, hopefully, all the encouragement you need. Encouragement to step out and confidently apply these simple yet profoundly impactful social and linguistic tools in your everyday life.
Now, here's a final provocative thought for you to mull over, something to take beyond just this deep dive. Beyond the obvious benefits of speaking English, consider how the fundamental skills of small talk, things like active listening, asking genuinely open questions that invite connection, showing authentic interest in another person's experience, and mastering the art of making someone feel comfortable and heard. Consider how these are truly fundamental life skills that actually transcend language barriers entirely. How might intentionally cultivating and strengthening these small talk muscles in English also profoundly enhance your relationships, foster greater empathy, open up new, unexpected opportunities in all areas of your life, even when you're speaking your native language? Think about how these seemingly simple interactions can truly enrich your entire social world, making you a more connected and perceptive individual.